big fuzzy bear.
A male adult lion.
Grizzly bear.
Leader of a wolf pack. A bull moose.
Teddy bear.
I met him through Rick because we grew up in Detroit and you guys lived out here in Bloomfield Hills, and Rick went to Country Day. So when Rick went to Country Day, that's how he met your dad. So when, we were all friends from kids, and we all ended up circling around together, and it's been a lifetime.
In the 9th grade, at football practice, preseason football practice, our football coach, who was a little crazy, we were trying on shoulder pads, and he comes, I put my shoulder pads on, Rudy, who I did not know, was standing next to me, and he takes his arms and he goes, boom, and he smashes me as hard as he can on the shoulders, and he gets this wild-eyed look at it, and I think those fit. Becker looks at me and he goes, oh. So we knew we were in trouble, but we had a great time playing football, and it was a great experience, and Country Day was absolutely wonderful.
I met him when some of our original group, including Rick, went to Country Day because the high school situation wasn't so great during those times. And Rick befriended Rudy, and I became his friend as well.
I've known him ever since I was born. He's my dad's best friend, 41 years.
When I married Dave Linden, and that was in 1979.
Oh my gosh, I must have been about 7. Yeah, that wasn't an accident. That was that was planned.
And we had a math instructor, and his name was Hokanson. And Hokanson, he tried not to laugh at our stuff, but he just could not control himself. Rudy was hysterical. So Hokanson's up at the front of the class. If there were 10 people in the class, I'd be amazed. So everybody knew each other and all. So we're sitting in class, and Hokanson says, okay, I'm going to announce a quiz. We're going to have a quiz next Thursday. Becker's hand goes up. And we're going to cover so-and-so. What, Becker, because he knew Becker was going to do something crazy. What, Becker? Becker says, Turner and I are playing golf that day. So he's telling the instructor that he can't take a test because he and Turner are going to skip school to play golf. And the guy tried to get mad. He was hysterical. He just thought that was fabulous. And I knew I had a lifelong friend at that point. Anyone with that kind of hubris, I mean, you got to respect that. He does things his own way. He always has, and he always will. And he's just a funny dude.
And your dad would come to my house without shoes on, and my mother wouldn't let him in and would chase him out. And that's how I got to know my mother. And and we used to go to your grandmother's house, and over there and chase around all over the place. And he was the only guy I ever knew at XKE when he was 14.
The funniest was when he came to the Oxbow Fishing Club and had never gone fly fishing before and really didn't know about it. And there was Dave with his one rod or whatever he had at the time. And Rudy fell in love with it, and within 2 hours, bought the whole shop, all the rods and the ties, and then you got the fish camp, and that was pretty funny. Rudy always does things in a big way. There's no halfway with him, and that's what's really great.
I think when he became a football star, so I didn't catch too many games, but I remember the stories about him, and wow, he's a football star. That was pretty impressive.
We once decided to do something we had never, either of us had done before, because Rick Fenton had planned, as he had done for every year, a salmon fishing trip. Had gotten the guides, Klusing and Grau, And, this was a high point and very exciting for Rick. And Rudy and I thought, we're going to play a practical joke. So we arranged to have a note up there because Rick was coming up early to make sure that everything was correct. And the note read, "I'm sorry, we can't make it. Something came up. Just go to the same fishing hole that we went to last year. The guides, Klusing and Corral." We thought that was pretty funny. So Rudy and I get up there, and Rick is stone-faced and mortified because he was trying to reach these guides to no avail. He didn't realize it was a practical joke. And I think Rudy and I realized at that point on, we aren't playing any more practical jokes. That was a very funny memory.
I remember you and Rudy, your dad, and my dad. We went out to Montana. He proclaimed himself Chief Big Dump. He came up with a song for everything and joked about Squaw Biggins after Al Bundy on Married with Children, because Al Bundy read the nudie mag Biggins, and we were out west, so put in the Squaw Biggins. So he was a character. He made that fishing trip all the better.
I think my favorite memories of him are like when we went to the Greenwood pool, when we'd be swimming and have to take our mandatory rest times and go get candy. We each got so much money, like a quarter, something like that we got to spend at the candy store, and then we had to rest. In Greenwood, Virginia, when we lived there, that was a whole lot of fun.
Good, caring, family kind of guy. He's a good man, and he's always been a good man. And when times get tough, he gets tougher.
He was so protective of the kids, especially Christy. He was so afraid of Christy going out, learning anything that would be evil. And he's a great guy, though. Great, funny sense of humor, really giving, couldn't be more generous. His friends love him to death and just love him.
Someone who he is a magnet to him, just draws people to him, and you want to hang out with him and be with him. Experienced more than 10 people have experienced in their lifetime. He's done quite a bit. It's really remarkable.
I think he's the most generous guy I ever saw. He's a completely generous a selfless person. I love the way your dad takes care of stuff. He loves to have a good time. He never scrimps or anything. He's always like way out there and generous, and at the same time having a good time himself. He's never. I love him because he's never seems to have denied himself anything, and that's an admirable quality. While he brings in all of his friends to do the same thing.
I could see he and my father walking together, and I would see that they walked exactly the same way. It was like seeing, the way that they would tilt when they would walk. And I think he tried to be like him a lot. I think they had a lot the same personality traits.
He's very wise and he's very smart, but I would say the first word is compassionate. He empathizes with others, and that's a rare quality. And he's always been that way. He's had the ability to relate to other people. Doesn't put up with any shit from anybody. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. He's not a pushover, but he can kind of look into somebody's soul and see the goodness there, or the badness. But if there's some goodness there, try and nurture that, and that's really kind of an admirable thing. Hell of a guy.
Think of someone with high intelligence and great principles, intensely loyal, and upstanding. You know, Rudy has beliefs and can articulate why he believes them and why they're correct. And you know, most people don't have the wherewithal to do that. Well, Rudy, if you're seeing this, happy 71st, man. It's been a great ride.
Love you, Opa.
I love you, Opa. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Opa. Happy birthday, Opa. I love you. Love you, Opa. I love you, Opa. We love you, Opa.